Fofo. For the city and them back roads, got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the Fofo and that goes. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the Fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the Fofo. This for the Fofo. This for the Fofo.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another show here in Ashtabula, the 440 Sports Show. My name is Sam Torres. Thanks so much for joining us here on this very rainy Monday. As we all woke up and opened our eyes this morning to what looks to be a pretty wet and miserable day, to be honest with you. And that's what we've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks. I mean, it's been a lot of rain and you know, baseball and softball has been so hard to get these games in. And, you know, I think that kind of shows why a lot of these coaches, a lot of these athletic directors, and, you know, shout out to both of those groups of people because, you know, keeping that schedule fluid and picking up games on the fly. And it's one of those things that you pick up and you know, going into the season, you have this beautiful plan, and we got all these schedules from all these different coaches. And again, and athletic directors, thank you to all of them. You know, you get these big, beautiful schedules, and then Mother Nature goes in there and puts it all in the blender. And, you know, you have some teams that are scurrying to get games wherever and whenever they can. And, you know, with only a couple weeks left in the season, we really are, it's almost crunch time. And we're going to start hearing that that word that nobody wants to hear, which is cancellation. We're going to start having more cancellations rather than reschedules. And that's something that nobody wants because a lot of these non-conference games at this point are going to be flat out canceled. And that's where you're going to miss some of the big time matchups that you want to see. You know, I know one that kind of sticks out to me. The one matchup I don't think I'm alone in wanting to watch is Edgewood versus Geneva. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because they're in two different parts of the conference. And at this point, your number one goal is to play your conference games. We're going to go through some conference standings here in just a little bit, just to kind of see what the overall conference are, because there was a lot of baseball and softball that got played this weekend. And not only a lot of meaningful baseball and softball. And I understand that all the games are meaningful every time these young athletes take the field, you know, it's not in vain, but you know, some of these games have a little bit more, you know, conference tournament seeding, all these other things kind of matter in the games. And we're at that point in the season now where that's what's going on. You know, you've got some teams out there with upwards of 11, 12 wins, taking each other on. And, you know, there was a couple upsets last week, and it was really, I'll tell you what, it was a super fun day of baseball and softball this weekend. I am going to get into, sorry about that. All right. I am going to get into our score because, fortunately, unlike last night's Diamond Roundup show, which was an absolute blast, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, go back and watch it. We get joined, me and Anthony are joined by DJ Oakley and Ty Bartell. Ty Bartell, for those of you who don't know, maybe from up this way, who Ty Bartell is. Ty Bartell does a great job of covering both Akron Hoban and Austintown Fitch. He traveled down to Myrtle Beach with Fitch, covered all their games. He's a really knowledgeable guy when it comes to baseball and softball in general. Does a really great job on the call. He joined the show last night. We all know that, DJ's the man when it comes to the shows. That's where, he runs the cornerstone of this network in Power Hour. He joined the show. And I think what is maybe a little bit less known by people who are just coming into the new YSN network is DJ's a baseball guy. DJ is a baseball guy. This is a guy who, he played some baseball in college. And, while we all love football and we all love basketball, and, baseball is the one that you can see kind of elicits a visceral response out of DJ. And it was really fun to get him on the show last night. And so another thing we got a chance to unveil last night was the power rankings. Now, the power rankings there's been a big scuttlebutt around already. The power rankings are wildly, wildly different on the baseball side. The softball side kind of held true. One of the things that was going on with the power rankings, and I'll reiterate this before I unveil it again on the show. For the first couple weeks, we were in the process of developing an algorithm to kind of put all the team's information into a computer, let the computer chew it, digest it, and spit out a ranking. Similar to stuff you would see in like the BCS. It's basically how you see these basketball rankings are the same way. You're taking in a lot of different factors with the power ranking. We didn't really have enough information on all of our YSN teams to really kind of incorporate it in the beginning, because it's hard to do a power ranking based on numbers and computer points when, a bunch of teams have 3 games in, or a bunch of teams have 1 or 2 games in, and some teams have none. And some teams have, played conference games and some people haven't. But now, last week we got to the point where, and you know what I forgot to do is always check to make sure that we've got sound, because we've had that in the past as well. Because it's hard. All right, we do. Anyway, back to it. It's hard to kind of put them up against each other, but last week was the first time where we kind of felt like we had enough information from each team. We had enough of a bite of each team's season to get at least an idea of what the recipe is that made them up. So we did that. We put all the information into the computer. We let the numbers, we let the algorithms do their job. And we did, and we put out a new power ranking. We also had a new starting 9. We'll reiterate that today on the show as well. But as always, I would like to start with last week's scores. We're not going to go through all of them, but I do want to go through Friday's because that was the last day you guys haven't seen me. So let's start right here with Friday. And you can find all of your scores on ysnlive.com, and you click this little scores tab right here. It's going to bring you all your scores for the day. If you click on live games, it's also going to tell you what is going to be broadcasted right here on YSN Live. It's really a great website. It does a phenomenal job of incorporating all this information that is really relevant to the teams that are here on YSN. YSN being your sports network, and that's what we're striving to do. 330-440 from the river to the lake. We've got you guys all covered. Almost 70 different schools involved with us right now. With the inclusion of Akron in Hoban, and potentially the addition of some other teams like Walsh, Jesuit, some of the other names I heard getting thrown around last night. I know Alliance has been kind of knocking on kicking around the idea. I'll tell you what, guys, it's as simple as this. One telephone call, one reach out here. We'll get with the administrative team, and, before you know it, YSN will be there providing you your free coverage for these local athletes. All right, let's start here on Friday as Jackson Milton takes on LeBray. And for 6-4 as LeBray gets right back onto the winning side of things here. LeBray goes on, they're 12 and they were 12-0 or 12-1 going into last week, takes a couple losses. And again, you'll kind of see that here in the power rankings. There's some really interesting little quirks in our power rankings. And trust me, we've already been made aware about what people think about the quirks, because last night social media was pretty much on fire with both the thumbs up and the thumbs down on the computer ranking. But I kind of liken it to the BCS. There were people who, you loved it when the points were in your favor. Nobody liked it when they weren't. Lowellville goes 11-3 over Campbell Memorial. Lakeview and Howland, I believe that one ended up getting canceled. South Range goes 15-6 over Cardinal Mooney. Hubbard, this is a pretty big win for them. 2-0 over Ursuline. No score there for EP and Beaver Local. Garrettsville, Garfield, same thing. We had a lot of cancellations due to rain because it kind of started there later in the afternoon. East Liverpool going to take a loss there to Madonna. Poland and West Branch, this is a big one. Another one that directly affected the power rankings. West Branch has been on a tear this year. They pick up a big win over Poland. Poland is a point-heavy team in the power rankings. So you win something like that, and it's going to get you in the mix. Salem goes 14-4 over Girard. And that was your baseball from Friday. As we head over here to Saturday, Springfield getting a win over East Palestine. LeBray softball winning 15-2 over Campbell Memorial. Leetonia goes 17-10 over Cheney. Talk about a high-scoring affair there. How about them Jefferson gals? 10-0 win over Perry. And Jefferson was one I was talking about last night on the show. And in the power rankings, you're going to see where they're sitting. And I think it's right. I think it's right for them. I think they're right where they need to be. But Jefferson has a chance to really kind of climb that ladder. They really, they play in the right conference. Their bats are on fire. Their pitching is really, really good. Jefferson is going to have a chance to really make a name and some noise on the softball side. These girls, Sammy Speakman, Allie Hill, Rogers, there's a whole lot of young ladies that can really, really swing the bat out there, pitch the ball. Mia Contenza is another one. We just had her. She's fresh off of a YSN All-Star. A YSN All-Star campaign in basketball. So you talk about these multi-sport athletes. Jefferson's got some special stuff going on. They're one of the bigger teams out here getting stuff done. Edgewood is another one we're talking about. Edgewood is getting some big wins. Edgewood does take a loss to Jefferson. I think you're going to see that in the power rankings as well. And then those two, I believe, are in the same division. So they're on a crash course to meet each other again in the tournament. But Edgewood's another one that gets, Edgewood and Jefferson, the first two people to be able to beat Perry out here in quite some time. And there's something to be said about that. Another game from this Friday, which was a pickup, actually, because we were initially slated to cover St. John and Matthews. And unfortunately, that one gets canceled. And those are the ones that are, I think, super disappointing, because that wasn't canceled due to any weather or anything. There was just some extenuating circumstances with transportation and stuff like that. And you look at a team like St. John that has really had been the victim of a ton of cancellation. I'm talking baseball here. That has really been the victim of a ton of cancellations and due to weather. And it's like, you really can't afford another cancellation. You really can't afford another cancellation due to anything but weather. But, shout out to St. John as they are continuing to push through the season. I mean, with only 7 games so far this year played, they've really kind of shown how good they really are. But that game ends up getting canceled, and then we go over and we cover Lakeside. I got a chance to go watch the Lakeside Dragons again as they took on West Geauga, and the Dragons are going to fall short in that one, 6-4. But it was a really good game. It was a really good game. I got to send a shout out, even though they're not our school. The West Geauga's got a pitcher out there. The kids, I want to say his last name is Brogan. Really, really did a great job of working the count, keeping base runners off. He pitched a complete game against Lakeside, and Lakeside's bats have been pretty much on fire for the last for the last week or so. But he was able to kind of keep those in check. Now, he doesn't keep them off the board. Lakeside does, they get their 4 runs across, but it was really interesting to see. Hold on, I just want to get a double check on that score because I feel like it actually may have been 7-6, and it was a late reported score, so it may not be on our actual scoreboard. Yeah, it's an unreported score, so but it was 7-6. So did I just? There we go. It was an unreported score, but Lakeside falls there to West Geauga 2 times in a row, 7-4 on Friday, 6-4 the day before in Chesterland. But Lakeside's got Anthony Wooten has been doing a pretty good job for them on the pitching side. They had Caleb Stitt starting on the mound for them. Alex DeSalvatore, who's been on this show, has really done a great job with his bat. They've got some younger kids who are really jumping up and taking a role on the team. And Matt Wagner, who's a freshman. You got Dylan Newsom, who's a sophomore. And it's Lakeside's got there's some real positive stuff going on over there for the Dragons. And that was another thing we got to do on Friday. Kind of off the beaten path, I guess is how you describe it. Got a chance to go over and was invited to take part in their Class Wars Day. Now, this was a day where Lakeside gets together and they bring together all of, the freshmen through senior classes. They separate them, and then they all compete in various games, whether it's dodgeball or tug of war or, an obstacle course. There was all kinds of great stuff going on there, but just kind of a day to kind of get the students together and make everybody enjoy the camaraderie of each other. And it was really fun. We got a chance to broadcast that. The dodgeball tournament was super fun. The kids got to go against the faculty. And I mean, how many times in high school did you want to hit a teacher with a dodgeball? I mean, come on. Like that's what a great opportunity that was. That was a super fun one. Got a chance to talk to Dr. Perkins, the principal over at Lakeside, about some of the things he's seeing. And great stuff going on right here in Ashtabula. So that was a really fun one on Friday. Today we had a full slate of games, including, Lakeside at Perry, Grand Valley at Conneaut today. There was a lot of good games on tap. On the softball side, you had Geneva at Grand Valley, Jefferson at Girard, St. John. I know softball had picked up a couple games today, but as you look outside and the rain keeps falling on my head, it's most likely going to be canceled. But let's talk about these games from Saturday. Really not too much going on that day, as Ursuline is going to beat Edison 8-9. And that was the only reported score from that day. Now, let's get that the right way. Again, like I said, there was a lot of great baseball games set up for today, but I'm pretty sure they're all going to be canceled. Make sure you tune in here. We'll let you guys know on YSN Live throughout all the social media pages. Check out the school social media pages. Always a great way to kind of keep up on what's going on. We're going to go to our first break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk Power 9. We're going to talk Power 20. We're going to talk Starting 9. Because last night's show, the Diamond Roundup, was an absolute blast, and we've got some big changes thanks to the algorithm that has been put into place. This is a good time for me to remind you all that the 440 Sports Show is brought to you by nobody yet. Toyota of Warren is the one that's going to sponsor Power Hour, and Running Point has their sponsor. I'd love nothing more than to get one of our Ashtabula-based businesses involved here on your sports network. It's a great way to show your product off. It's a great way to promote yourself in front of almost 70 different schools and way more than 70 different demographics. You're getting all the way from the river to Lake Erie covered here. We're doing daily shows. We cover sports games every single day. whether it's baseball, softball. I see there's tennis on the on the roster today. I know we've got a track meet coming up very, very soon. You get into the fall, you're talking football, volleyball, swimming, all these great things. It's a great way to kind of get your product out there, promote yourself, promote what you're doing in front of a lot of great people. It's also a great way to reach out and help. All of the money that we make from sponsorship and advertising gets pushed right back into this. This is the reason why we're able to, follow teams when they're going on the road. This is the reason why we're able to do these YSN All-Star games. It's the reason why, I know advertisements and sponsorships is a huge portion of the combine, which stay tuned as there's some details changing about that. We may have to kind of move that out a little bit to get some more involvement and get the place we want to get. But all of these things are fueled by advertisement and sponsorship. And it's I don't have Nike beating down the door. We need some help from our local businesses. And I know we have a ton of great local business owners. I know we've got a ton of great entrepreneurs. If you ever would like to get out or get on here or just have a conversation and see what kind of things we offer here, make sure you follow me, or you can ask on any of these, any of those social medias. You reach out, I'll get it. If you want to go directly to YSN, you go to ysnlive.com, go under the advertiser tab, send an email. We'll get out there. We'll talk to you. We'll figure out something that's going to work for you and help us and these kids right here on YSN Network. That's going to do it for this part. We're going to go to a break, talk to our friends from Toyota of Warren, and then when we come back, it's Power Rankings time. And I'm excited about this one because I'll be honest with you. I had a big input on this computer ranking, and I'm pretty proud of it.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. 440 Sports Show here on ysnlive.com. My name is Sam Torres, and thanks for joining us this morning. We're going to get into I did want to jump into some of the standings pages as well real quick before we get too far along into the power rankings. You got Canfield sitting on top here, 8-2 overall with a 4-0 conference record. Austintown Fitch there in the AAC sitting on top right there. As we go over to the Buckeye 8, it's still Harrison Central with Indian Creek right behind them. Indian Creek on top here with the softball and Edison right behind them. We're going to skip over the CVC, move over to the EBC. You got Alliance, that's 4-1. Alliance is one of those ones that I know there was a lot of kind of chitter-chatter about the power rankings last night as they were able to beat West Branch. But you know what? You're not. The YSN power rankings are the power rankings of YSN teams. So these are power rankings of all the schools who have signed up with us here at Your Sports Network. And that, guess what? That can change as quick as a phone call, baby. Let's get some of the administrators and those sort of things on the phone. I know the same thing goes with Geneva. When it comes to the power rankings, Geneva should definitely be in there. They've had an absolutely beautiful, beautiful season this year. The best way to change that, get you guys involved here on the power rankings, get you guys involved here on the starting nine, keep you guys involved here during the, as the upcoming fall season comes. You got to call, we got to talk to the administrators. You got to let your administrators know, like the old MTV campaign, I want my YSN. Let them know. But Marlington sitting on top here in the softball standings, 5-0, and Carrollton with a 4-2 right behind them. The EOAC, who I'm probably one of the least popular people in the world in this conference right now, and you'll see why here in just a minute. You got Columbiana 5-0 with an 8-6 overall record. United 5-0 in their conference, 8-4 overall record, and Wellsville right there in the mix too, 8-1 with a 5-1 record. Over on the softball side, you got United on top, 8-0, 12-2 overall. Columbiana 7-0 with a 13-2 overall over there on the softball side. As we go over to the MVAC, you're going Crestview with an absolutely giant win over LeBray this weekend. Or last week, 7-1, 9-1, or 9-2 overall, and that was a huge win for them. Actually, helped them jump into the power rankings. Over on the softball side, you got Champion, and it's Gabby Gradishar, and the Champion girls are getting the job done. They're 10-0 in the conference, 13-1 overall with Brookfield. Valiantly trying to hold up there with an 8-2 and an 11-3 overall. Over here on the softball side, you got Western Reserve 7-0, 10-0 overall. That's one of those games that I wonder if Western Reserve plays Champion. I'm pretty sure they will. Jackson Milton is 7-1 with a 12-4 overall record. Springfield has resurged after a rough start, 5-1, 6-3 overall record there. Over here in the NAC, there we go. You got Matthews, who is a 2-0 with a 6-1 overall. In baseball, you got Bristol, who's 3-0 in the conference, and actually, unless this has changed, they would then be tied with St. John, who would also be 3-0 in the conference with a 4-3 record, and Bristol holding on to a 5-6 record. I know that St. John was able to get a win over Lordstown. That's not reflected on here. You got Chalker, who's 4-0 over on the softball side. Lordstown 3-3. PV, the ladies of the Laker, are getting it done. 6-0. They're the top of the conference over here in the Stars division. 10-3 overall. And, Bailey Alderman, Sage Payne, they are doing the job this year for the Lady Lakers. As we head into the most highly contested conference on the network, it's the Lakeview Bulldogs taking over that number one spot here in the NE8. 8-1 in the conference, 10-1 overall. Poland right behind them, 5-1 in the conference, 8-5 overall. South Range 5-2, 11-2 overall. Lakeview and Poland, weather permitting, are going to be playing this week. So Lakeview can either assert their place on the top here in the NE8, or Poland can rip it right back out of their hands and take their spot on the top here. What'll be most interesting is if they split it, how that'll go. Over here on the South Range, or on the softball side, you got South Range on top, 7-0, 11-1 overall. Lakeview 5-1 with an 8-1 overall record. Heading in here to the Portage Trail, and the JFK Eagles have started to soar, 8-2 overall with a 4-0 conference record. Over on the softball side, though, JFK going to find themselves 0-1 in the conference with a 2-5 overall record. And as we go Steel Valley, Ursuline with a 9-3 overall record and 3-0, perfect 3-0 there in the conference, with Cardinal Mooney 0-1, 4-6 there. You got Cardinal Mooney and Cardinal Mooney on top on the softball side, 2-0, 4-1 overall, and Ursuline and Cheney going to be kind of at the bottom there with no conference games and 5-5 and 1-6 record there. And then we'll jump over here to the Steel Valley, or to the Chagrin Valley. This is one that, this is an interesting race to me. Berkshire is ahead in this one as Edgewood goes 6-1 within their conference right now. Berkshire perfect 5-0, Kirtland 5-1. Cardinal with 2 losses, which is one that I think a lot of people were surprised about. Cardinal with, Jake Bean, the Kent State commit. Has really been able to get some huge wins, including a win over Edgewood. But Edgewood Edgewood can seemingly punch their own ticket with another win over Berkshire. They can take over the conference, and Edgewood was a team that won that CVC Valley division last year, and they're looking to improve on that, or they're looking to do that again this year. But some early losses, and I'll tell you what, that Lakeside loss, it served as kind of a wake-up call for Edgewood as they went out there and were able to get some more W's after that. All right, enough of the rankings. Let's get that off there. Let's bring up, first we're going to bring up the softball rankings, because those ones are a little bit closer to what we've had kind of all year. You got Fitch at the number 1 spot, Canfield number 2, South Range at number 3, which makes a ton of sense. All 3 of those teams are just have really showed out this year. Archbishop Hoban number 4, the Hoban girls. They get a division, and another thing that is taken into account with this computer and the algorithm is what division your opponents are in. So there's a boost for playing a bunch of Division Ones. There's not, if you play, if you have 2 teams and they're both 8-0, but this team played 8 Division 4 teams and this team played 8 Division 1 teams, the Division 1 team is going to get the nod. They're going to get the nudge because they're going to get more points for beating the higher division team. And that's in every single power ranking. That's in every algorithm. That's in every formula that you'll ever see in sports. As you climb up division-wise, you're going to get more points for beating those bigger divisions. It's everywhere. That's not a YSN exclusive. So, there's a lot of chatter. But sometimes you don't get to pick you do get to pick who your opponents are, but you can't play your games for your opponents, and you can't play, you can't pick who's in your conference and those sort of things. But the overall, it kind of equals itself out. And you're going to see that because there are some lower division teams that found a spot up high in this one. So this is truly, it's a computer point system that doesn't value anything personally. You take your wins, you take your losses, you take what division your wins were over, you take how many games your opponent won off, your opponents have won. You put that all together. There's some other little extras that are implemented in there. How you won matters. Where you are at in your division matters. You put all that stuff together, and this is how the power ranking kind of chewed it up and spit this out. And I like it. I think it makes sense. I think you take the personal portion out of it, and that's the way it's got to be. Now, I know there are some people out there who are taking it personal, but I can assure you it is not. Champion sitting at number 5. Champion has been as good at softball as anybody on the network this year. Columbiana at number 6, Poland at number 7, Edison at number 8, Howland at number 9, Jefferson at number 10. And Jefferson was the one I was talking about earlier. This is the team I think that can climb up because Jefferson is in the same conference as two of the other top 10 teams on the power ranking. They're going to get to face off at least against one of them. I do know that. Western Reserve is at 11. They're a team I can see maybe kind of inch up if they stay on the course as well. Boardman's at 12. McDonald at 13. Louisville at 14. United at 15. PV making a huge run in that NAC, coming up to 16. You got Lakeview at 17. Edgewood, the girls stumbled a little bit last week, taking a couple losses. They move down in the power rankings, but still find themselves in the top 20 here on YSN. LeBray's at 19, and West Branch is at 20. Here we go, folks. It's baseball time. Your baseball power rankings, and this is the one, I'll be honest, that has kind of elicited the biggest response. One of the biggest ones that I've seen so far is there's no EOAC teams on here. There's some pretty passionate comments about it last night, and all I can say is the only thing I can bring up is this. It's not all about the wins and losses. Sometimes it's about what the people you beat did. So, with wins, I'll tell you what, wins over teams with, getting a team who hasn't won a single game on the year, it hurts you. You got an 0-12, an 0-10, an 0-8 team. It hurts your power ranking because, somebody like West Branch has wins over teams with 12 wins and 13 wins, and they get a huge boost for beating those teams who have beat a lot of other teams. What I can promise you is that there's no personal vendetta. There's no push against anybody. This is all numbers. This is all numbers, baby. West Branch is going to go number 1 here in this one. Canfield number 2. LeBray is number 3. And this is one. So LeBray to me is one of the ones that kind of it really throws out the, you guys are going to favor the bigger school. It doesn't favor the bigger school. LeBray is a smaller school who has beat a ton of schools, and those schools have beat a ton of schools. So LeBray is a lower division in the top 3. Lakeview is number 4, and Lakeview, I'll put you right now, if Lakeview goes out and beats Poland this week, Lakeview is going to be a top 3 team next week. That's just the way it's going. I can tell you this: 2 and 3, exact same amount of points within the algorithm. It was Canfield and LeBray tied. West Branch was only a point and a half above both of them. The big graphic boys are very, very tight. Very, very tight. Louisville's at number 5, and this is another one that talks about that kind of shows like this doesn't favor Division I over any other division. Louisville's Division I. Louisville's beat some of the biggest and the best. Archbishop Hoban, number 6. Poland, number 7. Garfield, number 8. You got South Range at number 9, and South Range is the one that is really, really getting a response because they've dropped from, I want to say they were 2 or 3 last week, down to number 9. And again, folks, I can tell you this: men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. What the numbers said is what we got. So where the numbers are at when it comes to opponents and what your opponents have done, that's where they're at. I'll tell you what, they're still a top 10 team. That's still a pretty darn good place to be. Ursuline's at 10. Crestview's at 11. You got Hubbard at 12. Edgewood making their way up at 13. Jackson Milton at 14. You got Fitch at 15. The Warren JFK Eagles are at 16. You got Edison at 17. Salem at 18. Boardman at 19. And Boardman is one of the teams that really benefited from their schedule. Boardman doesn't have a ton of wins. I think there's 5 or 6 wins that they've got, but every single team they beat has beat an absolute ton of people. a ton of people, and they're playing Division Ones, and it's going to help them along the way. And then you got the Struthers Wildcats rounding out the top 20 there. Like I said, this is one. There's a response there. There is a response. You love it, you like it, you lump it. It doesn't matter. That's the way it's going to be. This is the way the power ranking system is set up, and it's the computer. The computer is going to decide. You take the personal opinions out of it. You take those out of it. I think it's the right way to do it, and I'm really excited to see how this one is going to progress. And the beautiful thing about that power ranking system is it's dynamic. So as people win and lose games all week long, and big upsets happen, and conferences, the top of the conference changes, it's going to change the power rankings. I think it's just a beautiful kind of snippet and look at the teams here on your sports network. Let's go over to our starting 9 this week. You got Ethan Dietrich from Edgewood, who goes 1 for 1 with a 2-run homer in a 9-7 win over Pima-Tuning Valley. Cameron Huff, Newton Falls, 3 for 5, 4 RBIs and 1 run scored in a 15-10 win over Brookfield. Bryce Vanetti, who had 2 separate performances last week that could have been nominated for this starting 9, goes 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs in their 13-0 win over Lordstown. Billy Skirpak over at South Range is one that has, DJ was talking a lot about last night. This is a kid who wants to play baseball in college, and he's still available out there, and he's going out there and just, striking out 11 batters, no earned runs, only giving up 2 hits against the Poland Seminary, who is really, really good. Really, really good. Brad Hamilton from Badger goes 3 for 3, including 2 inside the park home runs, 16-5 win over Cheney. And you talk about home runs the hard way. He gets 2 of them, 2 inside the park. Nate McGee from Fitch goes 2 for 3. 2 for 3 with an RBI, and this was one of the cooler ones to be nominated this week. While he did a pretty good job at the plate, it's he does a fantastic job behind the plate, stopping pitchers from getting to the backstop. Anybody who's a baseball or softball person knows the importance of that, and how much that actually plays into a win or loss. So he's really getting nominated this week for his abilities at catcher. Gabe Rusnak from Hubbard goes 2 for 4, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, 5 in a 5-4 win over Girard. You got Connor Morley from Louisville, 3 for 5 with the walk-off RBI double over the Massillon, Washington Tigers. And then Max Stowe from Lakeview, 4 for 4, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored in a 21-0 win over Niles. Heading over to the softball side of things, you got Isla Ray from Fitch. She goes 2 for 3, just hitting two bombs, 2 tanks, 2 see you laters, give them postcards, 2 RBI. She gets walked twice after she puts 2 softballs in the parking lot in a 9-3 win over Riverside. Mia Opalik from Ursuline goes 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts in their 3-1 win over Louisville. Paige Grope, you got from Jackson Milton. She goes 4 for 4, hits a dinger, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and a 12-0 win over Lowellville. Sophia Palillo from Edgewood goes 2 for 3, hits a goner. That's 4 RBIs for her and a 7-6 win over PV. Faith Porter from Hoban, 7 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 walk, no earned runs, and a 4-0 win over Brunswick. You got Lauren Kamorik from Hubbard. She goes 5 for 6, hits a long bomb, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and their 10-6 win over Girard. Julie Stakowicz from South Range goes complete game shutout, 9 strikeouts, 3 for 4 with a dinger, 2 RBIs, and a 9-0 win over Poland. Morgan Blaine from Salem. She's going 2 for 3 with a double, 2 runs scored, 3 RBIs in a 12-5 win over Beaver Local. And then you got Tori Firth from United. 4 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts in 4 innings. She goes 3 for 3, hits a dinger, hits a double, 2 RBIs, 13-0 win over Wellsville. That's your starting 9 this week. And we had a lot of great performances last week. It's every week as that data gets put into the the nomination sheet, and we start discussing, and it's so impressive on what these young men and young women can do behind the plate, in the field, in the circle, on the mound, wherever it's at. They just do such a great job, and you really have to be on both sides of it. Most of the time, a great pitching outing. Particularly in softball, I've seen these pitchers can really hit the ball. You'll see girls go out there 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 14 strike. There'll be 14 strikeouts and, 3 for 3 from the plate. It's just absolutely incredible. Really, really, really incredible. That is going to be today's show, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I encourage you guys to check us out again tomorrow, as we'll be back here at 8. Make sure you tune in throughout the day. Anthony is going to be doing Running Point around 1 o'clock today. And then at the end, 3 o'clock, you'll have the Power Hour with DJ Oakley. I can't wait for Power Hour today because I am sure that it is going to be absolutely chock full of Power 20 talk. I know that there's a lot of people who love it. There's a lot of people who don't. I know there's been some chitter chatter on the inclusion of certain teams. And as the network grows, so will the Power 20. And how cool is that to actually be part of something like that? That's what we got today. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Sam Torres and the 440 Sports Show. I'll see you tomorrow.
This for the football. This for the football. For the city and the back roads. Got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football.